You're on the beat.
All right. Shalom Israel. Welcome to another Wednesday class for True Nation, going into some world history. I am tonight's teacher, Brother YASHAMI. To my left,
Ra'aya.
all praise be to the Most High, it's my brother. And we're going into a good topic tonight. But before we start, I want to ask all of you guys to like, share, subscribe. Let's get this content out. Tag somebody, send it to a family member, coworker, friend, whatever. Our people need to hear this. Our people need the truth. We're not charging you for it. However, we do accept donations. If you appreciate the work we're doing, please donate to the cause. However, this is free. So again, like, share, subscribe. We can be found on YouTube and Facebook at True Nation Israelite Congregation. And with that, we're going to jump right on in. I appreciate everybody who's tuned in live. So from tonight's title, as I'm sure most of you guys can see or not see, it says the 1980s, 1990s, and 2000s music and how and its effects on us today. I think this is a very important topic, right? Let's go over to the book of Psalm, chapter 83, because I want to set a tone and let you know what the Bible says, right, about certain topics like this. So let's get the book of Psalm, chapter 83, and let's start at verse 1.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 1. Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God.
Right, read.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
So there's something important that's being declared right now. First and foremost, we have to acknowledge that a prophet of the Most High God was sitting here and begging the Most High to do something against a certain people, right? Let's read on.
Verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
So what I want to set the tone with, right, the foundation, because there's a lot of conspiracy talk out there. Let's just let it be what it is. There's an agenda at play, right? The people who run this country, the people who run the world right now, the wicked, as said Job chapter 9, verse 24, right? There's an agenda at play concerning us, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites. And what the prophet is going into right now, he's saying, look, Most High, everybody else, all these other nations who hate you, they become real prideful and they done lifted up their head. And they've taken crafty counsel against his people, which happens to be us. Right? Read on.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
And consulted against thy hidden ones. Out of all the nations on this earth, the Most High said, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, I'm choosing you to be special unto me. He hid us away from everybody else. He severed us. That's what holy is, right? We were separated so that we could be called by the Most High. And these other nations, they've taken crafty counsel against us. Make no mistake about it. Read.
Verse 4, they have said.
This is what they say.
Come,
and what?
And let us cut them off from being a nation.
So you have to understand, with all of our people's history, right, in the short time span that we've been here in America, because I don't want to go too far back. Our people don't even like history as it is. But just in this short couple of 100 years that we've been here in America as slaves, being oppressed by so-called white people, their whole goal and the agenda at the very end of the day, it says, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, right? You got terms like eugenics, right, where they were literally finding ways to kill our people, right? Planned Parenthood, things of that nature. They're poisoning our food. They poison our water. They're poisoning our air, all in an attempt, right, to get rid of us. And that also translates over into music as well. And we'll find out as we continue the lesson. But go ahead.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
And the end-all hope was that the name of Israel would no longer be in remembrance. All praise be to the Most High that we're living in a day and age to where his spirit has been placed throughout this earth and knowledge is being increased. So many of our people now are finding out that we are the children of Israel. But think about all the hundreds of years where that wasn't the popular understanding. Even today, 2022, most of our people, if you ask them what your nationality is, they're going to say either a color by saying black or brown, right? Or they're going to call themselves after multiple continents, like African American and things like that. We're the only people on this earth who do that because we've lost who we were as a people. But like I said, all praise be to the Most High. That information is starting to come back out. Yes, it is. So it said that's the agenda at play. Don't forget that. People trying to make it seem as if, oh, it's just music. Right. They always try to say, it's just. Right. It's just. Nah. Those small things, as the Bible said, a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. Those small things going unchecked create big problems for our people. Right? So read on.
Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent.
You see that? They're all on the same page against us. You got so many people, oh, the Illuminati and this. Look, man, the reality is there's a group, a small group of Edomites on this world who's calling all the shots. And it's wicked. And the Most High is allowing them to do that, of course, so prophecy and other things could be fulfilled, but we can't be ignorant at what's at play. It's been the same goal, it's been the same agenda since day one to destroy us as a nation of people, all right? So with that being said, let's go over to the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 2. And I want verse 11.
2 Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us.
Lest Satan should get an advantage over us, right? We're the children of the Most High. God has literally given us the instructions on how to overcome this flesh and how to defeat Satan. So it's not a space where we should be to where Satan should have an advantage over us. However, we have to do our part and make sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's, right? Go ahead.
For we are not ignorant of his devices.
We are not ignorant of his devices. The scriptures say that the devil only comes to kill, steal, and destroy. We can't be ignorant of his devices when so-called black and Latino people have these devices that are killing us, right? Deceiving us and destroying us. That is something of Satan, and it has to be called out, right? We lost that level of accountability over time. It kind of became a you can't tell me nothing, only God can judge me type of show. Nah, we can't be ignorant of Satan's devices. Go to the book of Sirach. And I want to go to chapter 32, verse 3. Because this isn't a lesson to downplay music. As me and the brother was talking about before the lesson, man, music is a huge part of life. Right? In so much that men who were marching to their death at some points, right, in war, they made sure they still had them drums out there. Right. They made sure they still had them trumpets because that music, right, it energizes you, right?
It's like being in the sports world at the same time. You got the band out there. You got all the horns going. And getting ready for a game. It's like war time.
Real talk.
Get you ready. Get you in that right mindset, you know?
That music, it do something to us, right? And everybody don't experience it the same. Everybody enjoys music, but I just feel like us being children of the Most High, we have a closer connection to music. I feel like our music sounds the best, right? Over all genres. Whatever you're going to place an Israelite in, I feel like it's going to be the best. And our people have shown that over time, right? And that's why they got all these people yelling cultural appropriation for all these white people that come in and try to take our style of doing music and things like that. It's just a certain spirit that music brings, especially when it's done right. So music is definitely necessary, but it's a problem when the music is being used as a tool, right? Being used as a weapon against our people. And that's what we have to start calling out and understanding.
I like to say a lot of times you see about every 10 years or so, we get a new group of like straight ignorant rappers that come out. And it's be like, man, how did they get so popular all of a sudden out of nowhere? But that's a bigger agenda that's going on because it's like these dudes are being pushed because how many people and our children are going to chase their lifestyle, try to get the money that they got. but gonna end up dead in jail or, you know, broken homeless, trying to chase that thug lifestyle. But when we try to put that good, righteous music out, whether it's just somebody talking positive energy, that's not the music we hear on the radio. Those are not the artists that's getting the big contracts, because they don't want us to be filled with that zeal of togetherness and coming together and changing our outlook. They want us to stay down in the dumps on that ignorant music, bro.
And you're not even lying, and that's the coldest part, because we're so used to this type of conversation because we're in the truth. We know what's up.
Right.
But for your average listener and your average, you know, person just out there, they not thinking like this. Right? America has made us into a consumer nation. All we do is consume, consume, consume. And a lot of times we're not even having a healthy system of checks and balances in play, right? At least at one point in time, we had enough sense to be like, you know what, this isn't something my spirit should be entertaining. Nowadays, it's a free-for-all. Entertain whatever. And that's even down to like some serious demonic stuff like witchcraft and all of that. Back then, like literally, even in so-called white people's history, you can read about the Salem witch trials. They had enough sense to be like, you know what, there's certain things we just can't have in our society. But nah, all of that's gone now. It don't matter what you into. I remember at a point in time, man, I had some white friends when I was young. They was trying to get me to play a Ouija board, and I was like, a piece of me, it just didn't feel right. I'm like, nah. But today's society, kids are like, man, F it, I don't care. Instagram, doing it for the gram. They playing Ouija board, and, you know, and what we have to realize is you invite spirits into you, man. Music is a spiritual thing, right? These words that we speak, right? A lot of people like to get all deep and say you're spelling, right? You're casting spells, and there's a certain type of truth to that. But at the end of the day, it's the spirit that you're receiving. You want to make sure that you're receiving things that's going to actually be beneficial to your spirit and not the contrary.
It's definitely a spiritual thing.
Sure.
Nobody can debate that, because people that go out there in the streets, if they're going to do some dirt, they listen to a certain kind of music.
Exactly.
Like I said earlier, if we playing sports, you listen to a certain kind of music. You know what I'm saying?
And you coming from a football background.
Exactly.
You ain't trying to hear some Marvin Gaye before you go out and play, right?
You know what I mean? And the same thing, baby making music.
Exactly.
You know, everything, all of this music puts us in a certain state of mind and a certain energy that takes over. So it's something that we definitely have to, you know, take heed to.
Real talk. And that's why I feel like lessons like this are important, because, you know, leave it up to the so-called white man and the internet. They're going to blur all the lines. They never just tell you straight up what it is. We're here to tell you straight up what it is, and according to the Bible. We're going to let you know exactly what it is according to the word of the Most High, unfiltered, right? We're not cutting no corners. We're not sugarcoating. We're not trying to spare anyone's feelings. We have to warn our people, because we're already in a state of destruction. Our people just don't know it. So now all we can do is wake y'all up. It's just like the movie The Matrix. Y'all got to watch that. It's a cold movie, right? But with all of that, let's get some scriptures real quick just to show you how important the music is when it's done right. Go to Sirach 32:3.
Okay. Sirach chapter 32, verse 3. Speak thou that art the elder, for it becometh thee. But with sound judgment and hinder not music.
Look, don't hinder the music. Don't hinder it, because as we was just saying, it's a spiritual thing. That music, man, that's one of them things that can pull you out of them dumps that you in.
Definitely.
Them times where you just find yourself so overwhelmed with the cares of this world and depressed and just can't seem to get yourself up and at it, man. There's songs that will revive your spirit. So don't hinder the music, right? Drop down and read verse 5.
Verse 5. A concert of music is a banquet of wine, is as a signet of carbuncle set in gold.
It's very precious, in other words. Music is precious. Look how the world appreciates music. I don't care where you at. You could be in some of the most primitive jungles, because you got certain societies that have been like untouched by modern day, you know, society and stuff like that. The Amazon jungle, I bet you they still got you some music that they listening to. Exactly. They beating on some tree bark somewhere, making some noise. That music is precious, right? Go to Sirach chapter 40, verse 20.
I mean, look at all of the concerts, like a Michael Jackson concert. Millions of people out there crying and stuff and fainting. And
you know, and the thing is, we're not one of those overzealous and over-righteous Israelite camps to where, you know, we don't listen to no worldly music, and because Marvin Gaye is worldly music. You know, people only like to talk about the rap. Oh, man, accident happened right out front. But people like to, you know, talk about like rappers and as if that's the only form of worldly music. If these artists weren't keeping the commandments, it's worldly music. So it's not to just, take a poop on everybody's catalogs. I love Michael Jackson's music, right? Yeah. But, and this is all with all due respect, everything that he was able to do, all the lives that he impacted through his music, that was all in wickedness. Right. He wasn't keeping no commandments. Right. So imagine the type of impact we could have on the world when we're righteous. Oh my goodness. I mean, this man literally stood at the Super Bowl and he did this.
We'll literally be living in a different kind of world if it was that righteous energy in music. Yeah.
So go ahead, Sirach 40 and 20.
Sirach chapter 40, verse 20. Wine and music rejoice the heart.
Look at that. You get you some good drink. Right. You get you some even better music. Ooh. Rejoicing to the heart. Right. I don't care what type of day you was having. You put on that record that do what it do to you, and you like, woo.
The whole day, yep.
None of that even matter no more, read.
But the love of wisdom.
But the love of wisdom, read.
Is above them both.
Man, it says that there's damn near nothing more important than wine and music. But it's letting you know that the love of wisdom is above that. And that's what we want to stress. Through the 80s till now, the music, there has been a lack of wisdom. The Bible talks about the wisdom that we should be acquiring, which is the keeping of these laws and commandments. And there's even another scripture that says the knowledge of wickedness is never wisdom. And that's all we've been taught through the music since the 80s.
Destroying ourselves.
Yeah. And and we're going to get into it because there has been periods of positivity, right? Just that type of energy, positive energy, but it's misdirected because they'll be like, hey, love your neighbor. Now, that's something we should be learning, but they'll sit here and say that your neighbor is the same person that brought you here as a slave.
Yeah. And still murdering you today.
Or the Chinese man who's telling you to hurry up and buy. And then when it comes to you and your own people, none of that energy is reciprocated. Right. So there has to be, guidance with this type of thing, right? So let's get into it. I'm gonna save Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. We're gonna save that one. Just remind me in case I forget. Okay. So coming out of the 70s, right? Which for the most part was an era that was about peace, right? Reform. You had the Vietnam War going on. You had the hippie movement. Everybody seemed like they just wanted to be at peace for the most part, right? People was pushing for reform in certain aspects. Overall, there was a greater sense of just love that was being broadcasted through music. And you saw the results of that, right? There was a lot more camaraderie within our nation, our communities, the so-called blacks and Latinos, when compared to today, it's a lot more hostility. I can look at videos that's in black and white from 50, 60 years ago, and brothers seem like they had a better level of love and respect for one another, compared to now where it seems like none of that really matters. And, the pioneers of hip-hop, they've already done their thing. They've paved the way. Brothers like DJ Kool Herc. All of that has already been established, right, coming out of the 70s. So now we're coming into a new era where new ideas are being adopted, right? Technology is on a rise. People is looking for a sense of something new. And that's where we come in, right? So dealing with the 80s, there's a huge shift in technology, right? Especially in the techno sense. A lot of stuff is getting amped up. People are partying harder than ever, right? And yeah, real talk. And there's always hot spots. Everywhere is not cracking, but you got certain, party scenes like New York, Miami, LA, Houston. And for these areas, that's where you saw, most of the work coming from. And they got a gang of documentaries that goes into the nitty-gritty of each artist and what they brought to the table, but that's not really what we're here to focus on, because at the end of the day, it's only a popular thing now for our people to go on this independent route and not using Esau to help get the message out there. A lot of times when these brothers and sisters was going to these label execs and stuff like that, they didn't have the freedom to make whatever they wanted. You got these Edomites sitting there telling you what people want to hear, what people that look like you and me want to hear. How do they know that? They don't even season their chicken. They can't dance, but they going to tell us what we want to hear. And that's where the problem came in, right? A lot of foolishness started to get flooded in them airways, right? So let's get this. The book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 23. Chapter 5 and 3? 23. Y'all watch this.
Amos 5 and 23.
Uh-huh.
Amos chapter 5, verse 23. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs.
So we get to a point to where God himself no longer wants to hear our music, right? And for everybody who's tuning in, you may be a little bit older or you may be a little bit younger. Just go back and listen to the music that was being made in them eras. That's not nothing the Most High really wanted to hear. It was a bunch of foolishness. A bunch of foolishness, right? Even today. Today's music isn't any better, right? But we got to start from its inception, right? Because all of this is seeds. When you speak, when you teach, you plant seeds. And that's what, you know, a lot of our people aren't being told. As an artist, as a musician, you have influence on the people. You are, in one way or another, a teacher. You teach by the things that you say, right? And you get all this admiration and love from the people, and they want to follow and be like you, especially the little kids, right? You didn't see too many black Supermans, right, and black Batmans. Our superheroes was the ball players and the actors and the rappers and the singers. Right. Those are who our superheroes are in the hood. So it's a problem when they're living any type of lifestyle, not concerned about the well-being of our people. Go ahead.
For I will not hear the melody of thy vows.
See, the Most High didn't want to hear the music that was being made because it wasn't being done sincerely. And for those who were doing it sincerely, it wasn't done in righteousness. Right. You know, telling our people back in them times, because that's when vulgarity really started to pop out, right? Like with certain crews, like 2 Live Crew. I know you know about them, right?
Yeah. Luke.
Yeah, Uncle Luke, man, you know, and He's a legend in the streets. Right. Let the people tell it. Right. But man, a lot of damage was done to our people.
And it's still been done from that.
Exactly, because now there's a reference, and now somebody could point the finger and be like, "Well, you can't get mad at me because look, they did it." And that's one of the biggest problems within our community. No one wants to be held accountable 100%. They want shared accountability. Like, okay, I know I messed up, but he also did, and she did. It's like, nah, just take full accountability for yourself and change, right? But read.
Verse 24, but let judgment run down as waters.
That's what the Most High is pleased in, judgment, righteous judgment. There should have been somebody, the black gatekeepers, as they say, they should have been somebody in place to correct all these young brothers getting all this money from talking about foolishness to be like, this is not what our people need. We're coming out of a revolutionary period, right? The 60s and the 50s, our people actually stood for something. We wanted a certain type of precedence. We wanted a certain type of standard amongst our people. And as those years went by, that standard got lower, lower, and lower, and lower. I mean, go ahead.
We're literally the only nation of people that speak destruction in our own music.
And it's so cold because that used to be a fact. Right. Now the other nations do it because we make it look cool.
I get you.
Yeah. And that's the cold part. Yeah.
Foolishness.
Yeah.
It's out there.
We out here sagging our pants, and you got Asian people trying to sag.
Sleep with each other, woman or man.
Man.
We out here drugging it up. Like, everything is about the party. It's about just being wild and free. Like, we have no substance.
Exactly.
At all.
Exactly. And that's the sad part of it because and Esau knows what he's doing. You know, he's set. It's just like them old plantation tricks, you know. He'd take one field nigga and put him in a house, you know, give him a certain level of prestige, and now all the other slaves is jealous and trying to get like him. Yeah. Anything he's doing, the rest of the field niggas is doing because they want to be treated the exact same by master. So when you got these artists being put up there and they talking about nonsense, that's what the people start to follow and start to reciprocate, right? Monkey see, monkey do, I guess.
Exactly.
You know, and it's sad, honestly. So the Most High said, let judgment rain down. Go ahead.
And righteousness as a mighty stream.
And righteousness as a mighty stream. So when we're dealing with some of the acts or the well-known people of the 80s, right? You got the Sugar Hill Gang, Slick Rick, Run DMC, Eric B, LL Cool J, Grandmaster Flash, so many names, right? But now it comes down to what have they done for our people? Because here's the thing, I can open up this Bible and read certain stories like our sister in 2 Maccabees chapter 7, right? And as an artist, because I make music, and I feel like I make good music. It resonates a little bit differently, understanding the power that we have to influence people. So I'm sure you're familiar, but for those who aren't familiar, in 2 Maccabees chapter 7, you had a woman and her 7 sons who were being forced by the Greek armies at that point in time to defile themselves, right? And this woman watched all 7 of her sons be put to a brutal death, all because she stood and her sons stood fast on the laws of the Most High, right? They'd rather be put to death than to break the covenant that we made with our forefather. And in one of the verses, it said that the thing that she was thinking about to help her get through that was a song that Moses wrote. Wow. That Moses wrote. Moses had been here thousands, right? Hundreds of years before this woman and her family, but his song was so true and so spiritual. That's what helped her get through that adverse time. Who's putting on some LL Cool J when you being faced with affliction? The Grandmaster Flashes. And it's no disrespect to what they've done, but we got to be real. We're not the Christian church. We're not the Black Panther Party. Like I said, we're not sugarcoating nothing. What has that music done for our people except give them a temporary escape? Because that's what the music feels like more of today. It's an escape. From reality. From everything. Yeah. I mean, I can personally say music is definitely an escape for me in certain aspects. I remember going through high school, right? And just having your ups and downs, you know, you're emotional, you're trying to figure out life, you know, household is broken up, you're just trying to make sense of everything. Relationships with your parents don't be the best because we cursed. And I just remember having certain artists and listening to their work, and I felt like they really got me through those times. Of course, now that I'm older, I give all praise and honor and glory to the Most High, but there was just certain things that these brothers and sisters was saying that I felt like they was going through exactly what I was going through, right?
No, your words, I mean, your words, your music, you know. Yeah. You speaking power, you speaking life into people, man, and it's in a way that people love to hear it.
Yeah.
It's not like maybe this kind of setting where it's teaching and it's a conversation, but when you're hearing these songs that get you live, get you jumping, get you dancing, then my kids run around singing all of our music all day long, and it just keeps them in that spirit, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely power in your music, in righteous music.
That's the point, because look at the contrast, like, we sitting here talking about, sure, because we do fly stuff, you feel me? We the chosen of the Most High. We should be doing some fly shit here on this earth. But we praise the Most High in truth and sincerity. You're going to hear us call him by name in our music. You're gonna hear us talking about the will of the Father in our music, not the will of me, right? I'm not sitting here in my raps talking about what all these young niggas got to do and all these little hustlers got to do to get the corner cracking and do it. Nah. I'm talking about what I used to do in the world and how I overcame that through applying these laws. Where was that music at in the 80s? Predominantly. And that's why I said we got to understand and not be ignorant of Satan's devices, because there was some positive stuff being, you know, I'm not going to say everybody who made music in the 80s was on some wicked stuff.
The Public Enemies.
Right, you got Public Enemy and people like, they tried to bring that reform.
Music was like so-called empowering.
Yeah.
We just didn't know the power that we should have been tapped into, which is these scriptures. But we was trying to speak a positive message to our people to get us uplifted. Yep. But that's just like the civil rights movement, Marcus Garvey, the Black Panthers, all of those things, they meant well, but they wasn't appointed by the Most High, so none of those things really did anything for us overall. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same thing with the music.
And that's one of the sad pieces, because, you know, like you said, when it's being done in righteousness, we're not doing music just to make you feel good for a moment. This is a movement, you know, that we're embarking upon, right? We're fulfilling prophecy. So the message is a little bit different. And, you know, again, it's no disrespect to those who came before us and tried to do the right thing, but now we're in a space to where we're going to pick up where y'all left off, and we're going in the right direction. You know, and like you said, there was times where people tried to bring some reform and bring awareness to certain, you know, political movements and even political topics, because that wasn't common for our people to be focused on at that time. We was just on our daily hustle and bustle trying to figure out how to get paid and make sure that the rent, you know. So salute those brothers who was doing those things, but it comes to a point where that lane, it has a cap. Because once you know all about America's politics, once you know about how bad the ghetto is, what now? And that's what I don't like about a lot of these fake deep rappers in 2022. You know, the ones who have this big name and they keep getting all this money out of our people by reciting the same crap. How many albums are you gonna make talking about the problems of the hood? I know it's messed up. I live in it.
Versus what we gonna do.
Exactly. We're literally telling you why our hood's the way they are and how we're going to fix it. That's something that's missing and has been missing for a long time. But all praise be to the Most High. We not in that same space no more. So, you know, and like I said, you know, you had people that was trying to get into the political rap, but these labels, they're so evil. That's not what people want to hear. People want to have a good time. So that's why you see a decrease and a decline in rappers like KRS-One, who was putting the information out, letting you know, hey, we are to see the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? The Public Enemies.
But it got quiet.
Yeah, you get shushed. You get shushed. They take you off the shelf, or they put you on the shelf, right? And then they make room for all these just imbecile rappers. They bubblegum rap. They're not talking about no substance, like you said. It's just, right? So, unfortunately, you know, that started to fizzle out. That wasn't the popular thing no more going into the 80s and getting closer to the 90s. Nobody really wanted to hear that like that. But then you do have some people that still know how to break through, and they was just, you know, on that level of stardom, and their pen was so good. You know, you got people like Pac who was,
Mix it in.
Yeah.
Where, like you say, Pac, he was talking a lot of ignorance.
A lot of ignorant
shit. At the same time, it was a lot of good message as far as us building ourselves up, coming out of these, you know, Esau hand and getting it together. You know?
Real talk. So. And, you know, it's crazy, like, going towards the end of the 80s, you had 2 Live Crew going crazy right in the Miami scene, shutting it down. They going crazy. And y'all actually got to go back and listen to some of these songs. For real, man. I was tripping off a song I was listening to before I came here by them called We Want Some Coochie. And that's saying it the nice way. They use the P-U-S-S, you know. But they said we want some coochie. And the lyrics of the song, I'm just like, wow.
And I'm sure all of us as kids was singing them songs like it was not even knowing what you was singing.
That type of music you was only able to listen to once mom and dad left, or you was with the homies.
Then when you get older, you be like, dang, I was singing that song.
Real talk. It's sickening, honestly, the type of music that brothers and sisters was putting out. And it even got so bad, the Sheriff Navarro in Miami, they made it a big deal. They had to go to court over these lyrics because the sheriff was like, this music does not need to be played in our towns. They called it, what was the term they used? I can't even think because they got that speaker out there. Hey, Nas, can you come close the door, please? I can't even think of the word, but basically they said the music was just so like, there's no way this should be playing out loud for kids and everybody to consume. It got all the way up to the Supreme Court. Yeah, and they're one of the main reasons why you see on CD covers now. Check. Hey, can you get 2 batteries for this one too? They're one of the main reasons why you see now on most CDs and stuff parental advisory, explicit content. Because I was like, look, at the least, people should be warned and be told up front, like, hey, there might be some crazy stuff. But that was the whole thing. They was going back and forth on saying, oh, well, because I'm black, do I not get my First Amendment right to free speech and whoop-de-whoop-whoop. So they was trying to play that card. But, man, brothers, CB4, Same scenario? Yeah, I'm C before. CB4. I'm going to check that out. But literally, it got so bad, it got all the way up to the Supreme Court. They ended up winning the case, though, right? But it just lets you know if even Esau, the damn devil, has a problem, man. And that's what and that's where it became a problem because when it was destroying just the black community, it was okay. But when these brothers started to bubble over and they really got into the mainstream, and now white kids and Asian kids is starting to bump this music, talking about we want some coochie, and oh my goodness, yeah. So that should be a telltale sign for our people right there. But we're so on this road of can't nobody tell me nothing, and we just got to get something established for ourselves. We don't even care if it's right. We just want something. It don't matter how wicked it is. We just want to be able to be like, this is what we contributed. And it's messed up because even the Bible talks about that. It says, it might be off. It says, when it comes to the children of Israel, it says we know how to do wickedness. But when it comes to doing good, it says we ain't got no knowledge of it. We can tell you how to balance a triple beam and how to mix a little bit of baking powder with this substance to get you some crack. Man, brothers done turn a rock into a mountain. We know how to do all of that. Then took 2 women and now you got a whole empire of whores. We know how to do all of that. But when it comes down to the keeping of these commandments, raising up our people,
raising up your household, building up your community,
being a real father and a real man,
coming back to a nation.
Our people don't know nothing about that and don't want nothing to do with it. It amazes me when we out there on Saturday and the other days when we out there teaching, just to see the looks on our people's faces when they hear this word being brought out. I never thought in my life I'd see people hate the Bible the way people hate the Bible in 2022. But that's the Bible. That's the word of the Most High. It said it's sharper than any two-edged sword, cutting asunder spirit and all of that.
You took that right out of my mouth,
man.
Bro. Like, it's real. It's live. That's exactly what is the problem with our people. It's cutting them up.
Yeah. And it's so crazy because niggas have worldly conversation all the time and they could disagree or agree on who's the best and whose music sucks and whoop whoop. But as soon as you come from the angle out of what saith the Most High, so when you disagree with him being this, it's fine. But because I disagree, because of what the Bible says, now it's a problem.
Now I'm judging.
Right, now you judging.
Don't judge me. Like,
my goodness. Yeah. My goodness. My goodness.
I love you, Israel.
Man, you know, but it's one of those things. Let's see if we can get some of these lyrics, bro. And I wanted to be careful with that because we've been getting flagged a lot on YouTube. They've been hating, so I would have been able to play certain songs and all of that, but they be tripping. So we just going to read some of these lyrics. Let's see. We want some cat by 2 Live. Y'all watch this. It says, somebody say, hey, we want some Hey, we want some Let me hear you say, hey, we want some Hey, we want some And it gets repeated. You see me and my homies like to play this game. We call it Amtrak, but some call it the train. We would all line up in a single file line and take our turns at waxing girls' behinds. But every time it came to me, I was shit out of luck because I'd stick my thing in and it would get stuck. The girls would say stop, I'd say I'm not. That's enough, I quit because y'all are busting me out. I'd say girls, don't hide it, just divide it. And please don't knock it until you've tried it. So to all of you bees and all of you hoes, let's have group sex and do the Rambo. Man. That's acceptable? That's acceptable?
In the club, dancing to it, too.
My goodness.
Singing
and these be the same sisters singing this song, talking about they queens.
Want us to respect them.
They got to be respected and protected at all costs. Yeah. You got Jada Pinkett Smith, a known whore. A known whore. Right. Who sit here and demands protection and respect from all black men just because she's a black woman. I'm like, wow. My goodness. It says, I'm the Peter Piper of the 1980s. Got a long, hard for all of the ladies. I don't care if you got 3 babies. You could work this stick in my Mercedes. If you want to blow, just let me know. We can go backstage at the end of the show. I'll look at you, and you will look at me with my in my hands as you fall to your knees.
It's disgraceful. I mean,
it is.
It hurts me because we're just trying to clean this up.
Yeah.
We're just trying to change the mindsets of our people to where we're not walking in this fashion no more. We're moving in a different light.
Yep.
but we're okay with this. We like, no, we don't want nothing to do with righteousness. We don't want nothing to do with literally loving myself,
right,
and then loving my nation. I'm cool with this. I live this life. People literally live that lifestyle. The music that we listen to, people are living these lifestyles and out here doing this wickedness, and they're okay with it.
And I heard a cold quote, bro. It said that music affects the emotional system in our brain, which isn't necessarily the fastest of all the systems, but it can overwhelm all of the other systems. So the music that we listen to has an emotional effect, and the music that we've been listening to continues to pump and focus on the emotional side of us to where rational thinking and reason goes out the window.
And you talking that, they literally have meetings in the higher-ups to keep this music in circulation.
Yeah, I got some cold information.
I'm sure you do, where there was higher up having meetings on what we're going to do with this
Real
music
talk.
for this community of people.
Real talk.
And then he just talked about how it has this mental control over our emotions.
Yep.
But we still trying to figure out what's wrong with our communities right now.
And no one's looking at today's so-called leaders. Like, it's crazy. I've been having just more and more time to think and just reflect, because we're always looking at our people historically, right? And I think about our kings, the kings of Israel. A lot of times we're looking at the kings of Israel today, we just don't think of it, right? The kings, the princes, these is people who had the most influence on our people, right? So when you looking at today's rappers, the Lil Babies and the Floyd Mayweathers, they got the most influence. They walking around chains galore, money galore. These are the kings of Israel today.
Wow.
And historically, the kings of our people have been wicked, right? So you look at the lifestyles that they portray, and it's so cold because it's an industry. A lot of times they're not even living the things that they rapping and singing and talking about. But the people that love and adore them from a distance is dying just to get their hands on the substances that they talking about, the shoes and clothes that they wearing. It's a sick cycle that we living in.
And half of us don't know the loneliness once you get up there.
Exactly.
Once you get all of that money, once you have all of that fame, once you have all of that attention, it's so much loneliness up there that'll put you in a different dark space. You know what I'm saying? And that's a problem. A lot of our people are chasing that dream, but literally don't even know what that dream has for them, you know, and a lot of times we get destroyed in that mist.
Real talk.
This is why repentance is key.
Real talk.
And walking in the ways of the Most High and doing the same things that we want to do as far as music, but just doing it for the Most High and for your nation and for your people. And
literally,
watch the power.
All we're saying is flip it. Instead of speaking things that's destroying our people and keeping us in a further state of oppression, do the reverse. Do the opposite. Speak life into our people. That's a cold scripture. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Wow. Look at the lifestyles our people live. It's so crazy. I've been thinking, like, the other nations on this earth, they literally teach their young daughters the importance of growing up and having a strong husband, the importance of being a good wife and a good mother. But we're sitting here listening to music promoting prostitution. We're listening to music that promotes single-family households. We're listening to music that promotes being a single, independent woman. We're literally speaking death into our people. Literally. And we see how it's being played out. Literally. Everybody and their mama walking around, faces tattooed up. Everybody's just drunk and high out of their mind. We look like zombies. And this is all based off of the music that we're listening to, because the music, again, it has been weaponized. The music today that we listen to is not something that you listen to when you have a moment. It's not something that you got to etch time out of your day to listen to. No, you got it right here. And millions of songs and thousands of artists to choose from at your fingertips. It's easier than ever to escape, right? And our lives is so bad here. The music is our only escape. You only got church one day out of the week that most people don't even go to. Other than that, if you ain't listening to your pastor, you listening to these rappers. right?
God.
My goodness, it's crazy out here. So
I still turn on some gospel music every once in a while, man.
I'm not even gonna lie, I don't listen to gospel. I know what they banging though.
Because I know the truth of the words that they speak now, so
Right.
I have a different understanding. So when I hear it, I'm listening to it in the way that we know these laws now. So it be that uplifting energy, just the same way we listen to our music. It's like it's a totally different spirited energy when I wake up listening to that righteous music versus just that ignorant, you know, that stuff that don't have anything, no substance. And
Real talk.
To it.
And, you know, in the cold part, I was talking with Tazaiwan, and he said something that was so profound to me. He said that music has been basically set apart and reserved for those who have something to say. And that's what it used to be. But thanks to the increase in technology, now everybody has access to it. And you can see how the quality of music, literally in 30 years, listen to music from the 50s to the 80s. The quality of music dropped.
We're talking about nothing.
It dropped. It dropped. And, you know, and that's the unfortunate thing, because once where there was a real talent and a passion for things, now it's a cash grab.
And that's I was about to say that. Back then, it was more passionate about the art versus let me just get paid. You know what I'm saying? Like, even back then, you used to have groups. They would stay in groups because they was giving us some good music, and they wanted that music to get out. Nowadays, a group can't stay together because everybody want to do their own thing.
Exactly. Ego gets in the way, and then the labels are so cold because nowadays the music isn't good enough to sell by itself. Now you gotta sell it with a package. So now all of these rappers and entertainers that you love, they got some dramatic ass lives, right? Oh, such and such, he just beat up what's his name in the mall, and like, bro, you a grown man. That's what you're focused on. That's some high school shit. Oh, such and such just killed one. He a real one. His music is real now. So because he killed somebody who looks like him, now he's certified. Like, it's mind-blowing. So the music isn't even good enough to sell by itself. Now it's all the antics and skits and the drama that they sell with it, which further just puts our people in a state of sleep and oppression. Because now we glorify. Like, there was a time to where, believe it or not, so-called blacks and Latinos, we weren't gunning for each other's necks, right? We didn't hate one another. But now that's the energy that's being heightened.
And that wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't.
It literally wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't. Like, literally just from the 50s up until now, bro. It hasn't even been 100 years. And you can see a mass decline. It's happening fast. And that's the scary part, because the fact that the Most High has his spirit going throughout this earth and so many of us are waking up to who we are as a nation of people, Satan knows his time is running out. So he's ramping it up. Like, I got to get as many souls on my side as I can. Time is running short. This isn't to say that the world's going to end 2 weeks from now. You feel me? But, man, let's keep things in perspective. Can you see a year 2200? No. Can y'all see a year 2075? I don't think so. Right? So it's this race to basically pollute and just filthy up the minds of everybody. And they're doing it through the music and have been doing it through the music. That's why I said there is an agenda. Watch this. Let's go to the book of Genesis. Because people act like, man, people act like the Bible is a book of fairy tales. As much as people love Hollywood, you'll sit here and watch all these movies with CGI, and you'll praise it. Oh, that's the best work ever. Oh, this and that. The director, how'd he do it? But when it comes to the stories that you read in this Bible, now you have no respect for it, no type of admiration. There's no type of way this could be real.
Like, show me something else that have these kind of details.
Exactly.
Show me anything on the walls of Egypt that got a detailed stories like this. Like, you can't find it.
It's crazy. But I wanna get this real quick. Because I want to deal with the flood, the very first time that God destroyed the whole world. Go to the book of Genesis chapter 6, and let's read verse 1 just for context.
Genesis chapter 6, verse 1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair.
So let me clear this up for you, right? The children of the Most High God, these are the people who descended from Adam. God had a special election. He chose Adam to be special unto himself and his seed after him. So all of those who came from Adam who were to be separated and holy, focused on God, they started to mingle and mess with the regular people on this earth who God was not dealing with. In today's time, that would look like an Israelite going to mess with an Asian woman, right? A heathen, someone who was not of Israelite descent. So it said that started to happen a lot, and what?
And they took them wives of all which they chose.
Now, you can see the parallel with this and how it affected us, because God repeated the same thing in the book of Deuteronomy. He said, look, make sure when you go over there to them heathens' land, don't marry their daughters, don't marry their sons, because eventually they're going to cause you to stop following me. And that's exactly what happened with the sons of God's lineage, right? So drop down and read verse 5.
Verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth.
So the wickedness was great in the earth. It was wicked. The whole earth, not a city, not a town, the whole earth. And it's so funny just to see in today's time how the whole earth has their eyes locked in on what's going on here in America. Because this is the belly of the beast, Babylon, the great whore. You got people trying to escape the traditions of their forefathers, fathers to come over here to be Americanized. Right. So they could listen to some good old rap music and trap music and not be scolded for it. So America is polluting this earth with filth, right? It says, and God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, read.
And that every imagination
everything that somebody had to think or say, what?
Of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are living in those times once again. Again, the music is what's fueling our people to get up and go through their 9 to 5 and finish out their weeks. That's not the Most High no more. You listening to your favorite motivational rappers, your favorite motivational singers, trying to get you out that space where you can go out and handle your business. Are people not opening up this word looking for inspiration from God? Right. They looking for Lil Baby and Boosie Badass and Tupac, Biggie, and all the rest of these brothers and sisters, right? That's who's getting our people by. And what are they talking about? Wickedness. The fact that you got Chris Brown can sit here in an arena filled with thousands of women, look them in their eyes and be like, you hoe, you ain't loyal. The nerve. Right. But let you call your woman a hoe or a B word. Right. And that's not to say that it's okay. But now that I'm on stage with a microphone, I get away with it? Right. My goodness. These hoes ain't loyal. These hoes is for everybody. And this is a man who has a daughter and a son. What is that going to cause them? What type of seeds is being planted in their minds? Right? So, again, these are the times that we live in now. Go to, actually, before we go there, I wanted to talk about this. Because I seen it the other day. And it's not far-fetched because, you know, I've had conversations with people who have been in the industry or know industry people. And it's a cold game, right? And it just further emphasizes the point that we started off with, saying there is an agenda. For anybody who is familiar with Crazy Bone, right? The brother, he had an interview not too long ago where he was detailing, he was reading a letter. You saw it, right? It was called The Secret Meeting. And this is Bone Thugs and Harmony I'm talking about, right? So he starts to read this letter detailing the events of this meeting. First and foremost, I believe the year was 91. And the golden age of hip-hop is the 80s through early 90s, as they say. So he begins to say that, you know, certain people who had been on certain record labels, artists, right, and label heads, they had been invited into this meeting at some person's house, an Edomite. Before the meeting even initiated, they all had to sign waivers and documents talking about the things that are to be spoken of tonight can never be repeated, right? You can't tell people, you can't put it in your music, can't do this, do that. If you do, it results in termination. That could be either one or two ways. You losing your job or you really losing your life, because there is a Hollywood mob. You slip up, you say the wrong thing too many times, you moving in a direction the industry doesn't want you to move in, and you have a certain level of influence, they will kill you. That's a fact. That's why they had to kill Christ. It's no difference, even though we know that was prophesied, right? So, cool, people signing it, whatever, boom, not a big deal. The meeting starts. Edom might start to explain about this new business venture that a lot of these record labels, a lot of these industries have started to partake in, which is the private prison business. They were being explained how a lot of their employers, right, because that's what a lot of these artists are, they're employees to the label, how their employers had invested all this money into private prisons, and that how the government would then bless, right, or they gave incentives to the labels and the artists for doing things that kept people in prison. The more that these prisons were filled, the more money that these labels and those artists who were with it like that could make. Now, naturally, some people was probably baffled. Jaw dropped. What? Make it more clear. What we're asking you to do is to make music that promotes criminal activity. I can't remember the numbers. I believe they said from the 1980s, there was about 500 prisons across the U.S. To the year 2010, I believe there's over 1,500 prisons in the United States. Privately owned prisons, not government owned, privately owned.
More prisons than schools.
Yeah, yeah, right? And it's so crazy because they actually have something called a school to prison pipeline, to where basically everything you're doing in school, the way they're gearing you, the type of things you're learning how to be as a person is getting you geared up to either work for the system or work for free in jail. Because that's what the 13th Amendment did, right? It didn't abolish slavery. It just changed the terms of it. It said, look, we can't walk around with you niggas shackled up no more, just off the humbug. I guess y'all niggas is free. Right. However, if you break the laws of this country, then legally we get to enslave you. This is a cold game. This is a cold.
There's a prison in Louisiana that they still picking cotton.
I believe it. And it's free labor, or they making like 15 cents per 5 hours or some craziness. Right? So, and they talked about how, like, look, right now this is a private thing, but when it's up and running, it's going to be sold publicly. You can buy shares. You can get shares into this. And you wonder why, like the brother said earlier, a lot of the KRS-Ones and the Public Enemy start to fizzle out, and now you're getting a lot of these knuckleheads sitting here promoting or influencing our people to be scammers, to be drug dealers, to be pimps. You got women telling our women to be prostitutes, all feeding them to the system to be locked up, all in the name of being a real nigga. What does that even mean? Y'all look that up. It's called The Secret Meeting. It's probably like a 15, 20-minute video. But the fact that these type of things, are being held, it just confirms what the Bible already said. Did not in Psalm 83, it said they taking crafty counsel against us? They're not looking for white people to be locked up. They're looking for us. And that's why it's so cold, because we make sin, we make being a low-level individual, right? Not having high standards, we make that look cool to where the other nations are willing to drop their standards to be like us. My goodness. Asian gangs.
I mean, but we do that.
You said what?
They do that. Our women do that. Yeah. They listen to our women be telling the other women, y'all don't need no man. They be like, man, why y'all getting that influence from us to go down that route?
And they have men. Beyonce gonna sit here and tell you all the single ladies do this and do that, put his shit to the box on the left, and she got a whole husband. Cardi B gonna sit here and talk to you about how she don't cook and she definitely don't clean, but she gonna tell you exactly how she got that damn ring. And you know how she got it, right?
On her back.
On that, the song is called WAP. You know what that means, right?
On her back. That's why she got it.
Ladies, if you don't have anything else to offer, if you are a piece of crap mother, a piece of crap individual, As long as you got some WAP, you're going to be okay in 2022. That wet ass. This is what's poisoning the minds of our youth. It's mind blowing. And we haven't even gotten that far yet because that's today's music, right? Let's fast forward this a little bit. So we getting into the 90s, right? And they setting the tone. Boom. This is what we're trying to do moving forward. We're trying to promote criminal activity. What blows up shortly after that? Gangster rap.
NWA.
Gangster rap. And it's so cold because NWA, man, they had a political edge to them. They talking about the stuff that's happening in our communities and purposely why it's being done by our oppressors. But you know what they wanted to highlight? Gangster rap. The struggles of your communities and how you got to deal so treacherously with your own people. That's what they highlighted, and that's what gave them all the fame and brought them all the millions. And so naturally, that's what they're going to continue to do. Yeah, this political shit, this ain't really getting me my family fed. We still hungry. So if I got to rap about killing my brother, slinging dope, cooking up drugs and selling them to pregnant mothers and the homie's mom, then that's what I got to do. Right. Shortly after that meeting, gangster rap blows up. You want to say something? No, I'm good. Shortly after, right? And then Esau's so cold, he know how to make you ride for some unrighteousness, right? Biggie and Tupac. These is two individuals who most of us did not know on a personal level, yet we got so invested in they feud to where if you was here on the West Coast, you had your middle fingers up to everybody on the East Coast, and you don't even know nobody on the East Coast. Vice versa, people on the East Coast like, man, F them on the West, whoopty whoop whoop, I'm riding for Big, he don't like them, I don't like them. What? That energy got perpetuated. That's the type of influence our people had on their minds. So, man, and it's sad to see how that played out in our communities because knowing that gangbanging and things like that started with a good cause to protect our communities to now having music that fueled you to destroy it and terrorize your community. That's just like you said earlier. I don't know too many gangbangers, right? I grew up in L.A., had homies who was into that, right? I wasn't into it. Had homies that was, though. None of them was putting on no Kirk Franklin to go ride or rob somebody, kill somebody. They going to put on some pot. They going to put on whoever in the hood making the most just dirty and vulgar music because you're trying to feel that feel. You got to get into that wicked space. Right. You need something that's going to fuel it. Right. That's why it amazes me when I just think, looking down the road, how much of an influence this righteous music is going to be on the world. I was talking to the brother before we started. The Bible said in Acts that the apostles was known for tearing it up. And so much they was going into cities and people crying out, oh, these is the men. The one who's turning the world upside down. The Most High has given us that same ability to do that with music today. To break down all those strongholds and all the stumbling blocks of foolishness that have been set for our people. Now we can start to slowly break those down and implement righteousness. Man, all praise be to the Most High. For real, for real. And you look at some of the popular people that was out at them times. You got the Snoops, right? You got Dog Pound, Nate Dogg. Man, they heard that G-Funk, they didn't know what to do. They heard that G-Funk and didn't know what to do, right? And musically, it was a beautiful time. Taking things that was done 30, 20 years before us and sampling and finding new ways just to be artsy. And it's so cold because we have a way of making wickedness feel and sound so good.
We start using real instruments.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Real instruments, live bands with rapping and that kind of.
I mean, the music just took off to a whole different place. And music has been here since the beginning of time. Make no mistake about it. But we have to get to a space to where, we're being held accountable and the responsibility of having a platform like that, is constantly being reminded to that individual. Because now it's just like, here, we're going to give you this platform to where you have the ability to impact the hearts and souls of millions of your people everywhere. have fun. That's basically what they say. They don't sit them down and be like, look, this is a super huge responsibility, right, that you have. You have the ability to rise your people out from the dust, and they're not having those conversations because they too busy.
They won't have that.
Yeah, they won't. They spending all this fast money they getting on whores, on drugs, and then going live on Instagram to show you supposedly on what you're missing out on. So our people's in a rat race all trying to get like the next nigga who's doing wickedly. It's crazy. It's crazy, right? Got your Dr. Dre's, right? Notorious B.I.G., Tupac, so many names throughout the course of time. And at certain points, we can be appreciative of the things that they had to offer. But again, we're not in that same space. We're not Christians no more. We're Israelites. We have to understand the negativity that a lot of that brought into our people, right? So you had in the 80s, right, vulgarity starting to just boom. It's bumping up. Again, we want some It only got worse going forward into the 90s.
All the single family households.
Yeah, that's and then it didn't help you at crack going through our neighborhoods, right? So you got all of these men who are renowned for the things that they were saying on these records, but just go back and listen to it, and you'll see it's so destructive to our people. We're a self-destructive people, Israel, and we need the Most High. Truly. That's why he gave us a law that we're supposed to govern ourselves by. But again, it only got worse. You look at people like Too Short. Man, you know what you was finna get out of every song you listen to. He finna call a woman a B-I-T-C-H.
And now they're okay with calling themselves that.
Yeah.
But then let another man call you that, then it's all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
It's like y'all talk amongst each other in your conversations, and you okay with calling yourself a B now.
And it's sad because we shouldn't be speaking to one another like that to begin with. But like you said, the hypocrisy. We've been trained, if a nigga is on a microphone, if he is coming out your stereo system and he's calling you a B-I-T-C-H, you need to be okay with it.
It's all right.
But if another brother does it, you chop his head off. Unless he's gay. Gay men have... They got that B-I-T-C-H card, right? They can say it as much as they please, and it's always okay.
Say it like a girlfriend.
It's sad. It's real sad, you know. And it's crazy. Like even just looking at like artists like Too Short, you literally emphasized pimping, and he's not the only one. You got Sugar Free. You got a gang of people who tried to make pimping the daughters of Israel. Snoop, he's had his part to play in it. Right? And I know that these men, they not in them same spaces no more, but that's the severity of having a voice on that type of level.
The damage that
exactly, the damage is done. Yeah. These brothers can be today, you know what, we don't believe in any of that stuff that we was talking about back then, but the damage is done.
A lot of people that's not here today.
These men is in their 50s. Yeah. They already had a chance to have kids who grew up listening to their music.
That's the trap. Yeah. Like you said, a lot of them are rap and really don't even live the lifestyle. So it's a lot of rappers that, like you say, retired, chilling, ain't nowhere near the lifestyle that they rap, but destroyed so many souls on that path.
And that lifestyle is still being perpetuated, right? And, you know, again, I don't want to go too far because, man, I'm pretty sure another brother has another lesson going into today's music. But just, man, just looking at the 80s and 90s is like, man. And if that wasn't bad enough, you start to move into the 2000s, right? I remember being a young man watching MTV. I was looking forward to seeing something shake. I remember it.
The late night show. What was the late night BET after hours?
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, that's when it got real vulgar.
Man, you got BET and MTV. They bro, I remember being a kid and looking at these videos, and I'm seeing these brothers with these chains on, jewelry, they flashing money, they got women shaking their butt, showing their boobs. I wanted all parts of that because I thought that's what being a man was. I thought that's what being a black man I was supposed to do. And that's the danger of not being aware of Satan's devices. All these brothers, they trying to make it off the same plantation. They trying to find a way to have a better life for them and their kids, but why at the expense of your people and their souls? It's crazy because, like, I feel like in the 80s, it's like one of those conversations we need Bosch for. He has a lot of good input on this because, you know, music in itself it reflects, because it's art. Art usually reflects the time, and time reflects the art. Whatever you're going through at that time period, that's what you're going to talk about, right? So I feel like in the 80s, our people started to have a sense of freedom, right? We coming out of you had Jim Crow and all that happening just a couple of decades before that. Wars over in the 70s. Everybody high on the peace pipe. And I feel like our people started to have a certain type of confidence about themselves, and they started to have a sense of freedom, right? So we move over into the 90s. Now I feel like our people are starting to find themselves just a little bit more. Creatively, our people is digging into some different bags, and they're trying to have something different to offer, to be like, this is who we are. You feel me? Because remember, the whole world is still telling us we ain't nothing. We monkeys, we slaves. There's still this negative stigma on black people, even to today. But I felt like in the 90s, our people was using that as an opportunity. While everything else was booming, you got the internet, I believe, that just popped up. Cell phones and stuff, like everything is on an up. So our people was like, here's what we have to offer to this pot, right? So then we move into the 2000s. Got a sense of freedom, starting to find out who we are. Now I feel like we're starting to show people exactly the type of lifestyles we want to live. And you see that boom, like I said, with the BETs and the MTVs, right? Brothers rolling around in Mercedes-Benzes, racked up, dressing fly. They on yachts. You look at how Bad Boys is doing it, right? Bad Boy music videos. They was like movies. Man, I want to be just like them. Right? And it's so cold because I feel like in the 2000s, Esau was honing in on his skills of just being the devil and finding the perfect way to pollute the minds of our people. Because, back then, everybody, like, in 2022, a lot of stuff is just common. Everybody has a TV. Right. Everybody has a phone. It wasn't like that back then. Right. Certain people had that. You feel me? Because it was so expensive.
Go over their house to watch the fight tonight.
Exactly. So now we moving into the 2000s where things are starting to be a little bit more accessible, right? It's a little bit cheaper. Everybody can enjoy. And that's when Esau is like, ramp it up. Ramp it up. You got iPods. Right, I remember having an iPod Nano. I remember having an iPod Shuffle, 3rd grade, 4th grade.
All the MP3 players, all of that. Yep.
I remember giving my computer AIDS by downloading stuff off of LimeWire. Right, so, dude, everything is on an up. And I felt like that's the time Esau really was honing on his skills. Like, you know what? We finally got it. We know how to get these dudes. Right. We know how to get these women. Right. And that's the danger of the era of the 2000s, right? The lifestyle that was being portrayed to our people as if this is how God intended for us to live. They make these celebrities bigger than life. Literally, people who have dedicated their whole lives to school and learning certain things that's necessary for life to continue. Right. Architects, biologists, right? All type of professions. These now are the lame people, the low people on the totem pole.
I'm just talking about regular school teachers. Like
once used to be the heroes in our community.
Why would I want to send my kids to a school with a teacher that's stressed out every single day, can't pay their bills, got to sometimes work 2 jobs, but they're raising the generations of kids. But then the ones that's talking about destroying the whole world is getting paid millions.
Yeah. Look, let's get this. Going on? Watch this. Go to the book of Sirach, chapter 44. And that's the part that's crazy because entertainment is at an all-time high. That's why Instagram, TikTok, that's #1 apps. Facebook, because people are entertained. You're not focused, you're entertained. When I'm entertained, I'm not focused. Right. When I'm chilling with y'all, we at the feast, we cracking jokes, I'm being entertained. I'm not thinking about what bills I gotta pay. Right. I'm not thinking about this, I'm not thinking about that. I'm enjoying that moment. Right. But Esau has given you the access to have that moment 24/7 every single day. It's crazy.
Right.
But let's read 44. This. 44 and let's start at verse 1.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 44, verse 1. Let us now praise famous men.
Is this talking about just anybody who's famous? Right? You got so many different characters that are famous for so many different reasons. You remember the brother Boot Gang. Brother got famous for being a thief. He'd be in a barber chair getting his hair cut, looking at it like, yeah, it look real good. Go. and got people filming it, and the whole world's loving it. Oh, look. You were praising this man because he's a thief? Wow. Come on now. In all praises, I believe the brother changed his life around. He's not on that no more. But he still has a certain level of fame, right? Got certain people that's famous for selling drugs. You got certain men in today's time that's famous for killing and murdering. But the Bible says, let us praise famous men. Let's see the type of famous men we should be praising. Go ahead.
Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us. The Lord hath wrought great glory by them through his great power from the beginning.
So our forefathers that begat us, righteous men, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, King David, the prophets. These are the men who are worthy of praise. Moses, Noah. These are the men who the Most High has given great power in this earth, and we're still talking about them today. Who's more famous than Jesus Christ? This man is so famous, they trying to turn him into a myth. He never existed. Now he's a legend, right? A living legend. Right. Legend has it, this man did this. He was able to walk on water. Right. Look, this was real. This is our forefathers. These are the men who gave their lives on behalf of their people and our God. These are the type of men who are worthy of praise. Read on.
Such as did bear rule in their kingdoms.
These are men who bear rule in their kingdom, and they were governing using the laws of the Most High. Read.
Men renowned for their power.
No, for their dance moves.
For their power.
For how well they can cook crack.
For their power.
About how many women he was able to smash.
For their power.
For sisters, how much money they can get from dancing on a pole.
For their power.
For their power. There was a quote, I'm probably going to butcher it, but dude said, there's people who have power and there's people that have money. And the man who can tell the difference, that's a dangerous man, right? But go ahead.
Giving counsel by their understanding.
How many of today's leaders, these famous men, these famous women, give good counsel? That's something that's not regarded, right? But it's so crazy because it's popular right now in music for people to go and get therapy. That's popular right now. It's a whole lot of hurt, a whole lot of healing that needs to be done in the nation. Get therapy. It's good. But when you're in these therapy sessions, right, these are the counselors of today, right, these therapists, when it used to be the leaders of our people, giving therapy through the things that they taught, teaching how to get you out that bad space, right?
I was about to say, I do therapy a lot for concussions and stuff, right? Every time I do it, I feel like I'm got more knowledge and wisdom than the people that I'm sitting in front of paying. It's supposed to be helping me sort out my brain. But it's because they're not coming from a righteous source. Exactly. They're coming from personal opinions or the book that they studied in school. Exactly. Something that, you know, they're just not coming from a righteous spirit.
Those books are okay to read, but not the Bible?
Yeah, exactly.
The man wrote the Bible. Well, your therapist, what books did he read that a man didn't write?
It's true. It's so real, man. It's like you got to make sure, like, this is the number one source right here that can really tackle any of our issues that we have.
I look at certain lessons that Bishop Tazaiwan does and the rest of our bishops where they're able to bring a certain zeal out of our people when they didn't even have it when they first sat down when that class began. But by the end of the class, they on 10, ready to slap somebody, right? In righteousness. Ready to ride on our enemies and those who oppress us daily. I look at brothers like the Maccabees. When they're talking to the army, it's 300 or 3,000 of them versus 30,000 of another nation. And they find the words to tell to invigorate those men and bring their spirit and arouse them. That's the type of therapy that we need, the type of counsel that righteous men are worthy of being praised for. But let's read on. Verse 4?
Let me finish 3. Giving counsel by their understanding and declaring prophecies.
Look at that, declaring prophecies. Today, the only type of prophetic thing that you're going to get from the leaders of the famous people of today, they're going to talk about manifesting. you see, before I even got all these millions, I was sitting in my little room run down with roaches and rats, and I just knew one day I was going to be rich. One day I was going to have this. But
no, they did. That's a lie. It's a lie.
But that's what's popular. Everybody's on a manifestation.
Right. Like a lot of times you hear a lot of sports or entertainers go talking about something like in the political world or trying to go talk about business or something.
Yeah.
And be like, man, why is people only listening to you because you got 50 million playing basketball?
Exactly.
It ain't had nothing to do with your smarts in business and all of that other stuff. People just listen to you because you got the money.
Exactly.
Not because you really have knowledge and wisdom.
Exactly. But my thing is, why that's the only type of prophecy we get? Because all prophecy is teaching. We teach the words of the Most High, thus that makes us prophets, right? But only thing you teach me how to do is get a bag. But that's what's coveted, though. That's what our people want. We just want the bag. We want money. We want fame. We don't care about the righteousness of the Most High, and it shows in the music. It shows. That's not the popular mind state. But like it said in Genesis, our people's thoughts are only evil continually. But read on.
Verse 4, leaders of the people by their counsels and by their knowledge of learning meet for the people.
And that's the thing. The type of knowledge and the type of information that's being taught through our people over these airways is not meat, meaning it's not good. It's not necessary. It's not adequate. That's not what our people need to be listening to. We don't need any more rappers that's going to sit here and talk about how they got money selling drugs. We don't need any more females that's rapping about how good they coochie is. We don't need no more Meg Thee Stallions and Cardi B's. To hell with them, respectfully. This isn't nothing that I wouldn't tell them if they were sitting in front of me. Y'all got a huge platform and y'all choose to talk about bullshit. Millions of people willing to give you an ear, and you're talking about foolishness. You should be ashamed of yourself, honestly. Now, the beauty of it is you have an opportunity to change. But somebody needs to hold you accountable, right? But let's read on.
Wise and eloquent in their instruction.
Wise and eloquent in their instruction, bro. Watch some of these interviews of artists, right? And you even see it with like, what was the most recent thing? The Rolly Romero fight and Tank Davis. Them brothers is not eloquent in their speech. You don't even understand what the hell they saying half the time. And if it's not them, right, you got your other leaders, the famous people of today, they can't talk. They all drugged up. They mumbling. And yes, you feel me? Because I don't even, you feel me? Because I don't even, you feel me? And you feel me? And you know what I'm saying? You feel me? And it's like, damn, bro, you said it 50 times in 2 sentences. Yeah, you feel me? I'm just trying to, you feel me? But go ahead.
Verse 5. Such as found out musical tunes.
Because we had famous men that was real good with the music and they was using it for a righteous purpose. I remember Kabosh. This might have been my first or second year in the truth. And when Kabosh showed me the passage, I believe it's in 2 Kings, where the Levites, bro, they were playing music for the Most High, and it was so beautiful. The Most High came down in the cloud to listen.
Wow.
Who's making music like that now? To where the Most High wants to regard what you're saying. And I'm not saying any of us within the Israelite community isn't making music like that. I'm sure the Most High is pleased with some of the music that brothers and sisters is offering in the truth. But out there in the world, truth music, truth artists, they're not popular. And the only truth artists that are popular is niggas who don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments.
Walking that line.
Exactly. And they're not even walking the line. They've chose their side. Right? I could get graphic, start calling some names, but it's not going to do no good. I don't even want to put light on them because they're full of it. They're full of it. If you're an Israelite artist and you're not clearly detailing what it is you believe in, what the doctrine our people should be following is, and you have all these opinions, I don't want to hear your music. I don't.
Confusing.
It is confusing. You have no leg in this race. You have no stance in this. You don't even put in no work. You shouldn't have anything to say, no type of opinions. Keep it to yourself, right? And let brothers like myself and those who do music and are actually invested in building up our people, let us have all the opinions. You just stay off to the side, right? And the same energy goes for those brothers in the world. If you're not talking about nothing that's going to uplift my people, I really don't want to hear what you're talking about.
Remember that old saying? We don't live by it no more, though. If you don't have nothing good to say, don't say it at all. We don't live on that.
Yeah, they've been through that. To be honest, I haven't even heard that. I haven't heard that since about fourth grade.
Time, right?
That and the golden rule, I ain't heard since at least fourth grade.
Done away with, man.
Treat others how you want to be treated. I ain't heard none of that since at least fourth grade.
Man, that's a wrap.
That's like 2003, 2004.
Yep.
Right? You funny for that one, but let's read on.
Verse 5 again. Such as found out musical tunes and recited verses in writing. Rich men furnished with ability.
Rich men furnished with ability. What abilities do our people have today, the leaders of our people? Besides being able to give you a feel-good message that'll make you feel cool for the few minutes you listening, what abilities do our people have? Right? I read about the righteous men who had the ability to rise our people out of a state of oppression, the ability to reverse the curses. Nobody who you listening to in 2022 is going to give you that.
They not buying no land.
Nah, they're not doing
no
none
farms.
of that.
We ain't got no hospitals.
None of that.
Schools.
None of that. But read.
Living peaceably in their habitations.
Man, again, all the drama that is surrounded around the artist. You don't enjoy the music. You enjoy the drama. Oh, such and such has gotten into a fight with such and such. Right. Like even the whole Lil Durk situation. His man's got killed a couple years ago, right? Vaughn. And they making music about the beef going between who's sliding on who and whether or not they got payback. Right. Bro, are you serious? Your life is not peaceful. These dudes sitting here rapping about how many times they done got shot, how many people hate them, how they got to look over their shoulder where they at, how they a real one, they got wounds and they got stripes. It's not cool to be you, bro. It's not. Your life sounds like it sucks.
Like when there's record number killings in our community every weekend.
Your life sucks, bro.
That's something to be praised.
You're confined to your hood. You can't leave your hood wearing another color because someone else might kill you. Your life sucks. It's not cool to be you. But this is the lifestyle that people cherish. Right? But read.
Verse 7, all these were honored in their generations and were the glory of their times.
Read.
There be of them that have left a name behind them, that their praises might be reported.
Exactly. And we got some men that we still praise to this day. Moses, Joseph, Christ, David, Solomon. Man, Hezekiah, Josiah have great names in this earth. Read.
And some there be which have no memorial, who are perished.
And that's the cold part because it's going to go in talking about the righteous men, but our people act like the memorial of today's rappers and entertainers are going to be here forevermore. My kids may not know who the hell a Tupac is. I don't even, bro, I'm not invested in the pioneers of hip hop. It's not to be disrespectful, but I don't care about the Cool Hercs and the Grandmaster. I don't listen to their music. Their music wasn't impactful to me like that. I'm only 26. I don't even listen to a lot of Jay-Z. That's not who I grew up listening to like that, right? So it's going to be subjective to them eras and who you was listening to. But, dude, 100 years from now, nobody's going to know who a Drake is. Nobody's going to know who a J. Cole is. Nobody's going to know who the hell a Kendrick Lamar is. So why not focus on being righteous?
But they still going to know Moses, Jesus.
They still going to know because this Bible's going to be here.
Exactly.
Their memorial has been etched in stone. Right? People got to, man, they're thinking the things that's happening is going to be timeless, and that's not the case. It's only for a time. That's why you want to make sure that the things and the lifestyle that you're living here on this earth is going to give you a perpetual memorial, something that's going to live on forever in righteousness. But let's read on.
And some there be which have no memorial who are perished, as though they had never been.
As though they've never been. Read.
And are become as though they had never been born, and their children after them.
But what?
But these were merciful men.
These are people who still have a good place and a good standing in the eyes of God. Doesn't matter. You may never hear about a YASHAMI or any of the works that I did to try to spread my Father's name. But my hopes is that when I die, if I die, that the Most High is going to remember me, and that when we get to the kingdom, we're going to have names that's going to live forever. I'm okay with not being that guy who the whole world just knows and loves and admires. I'm okay with that. The scriptures talk about getting the love of the congregation. As long as my brothers and my sisters who I see love me, I'm cool with that. My friends and my real family, as long as they love me, I'm cool with that. America has put this false image in our people's head that you need to be remembered and loved by everybody else. You didn't do anything in your life. And we're going about trying to get that memorial doing some very sick stuff.
Trying to be honored by men.
You don't want to be remembered for just anything. You want to be remembered for being great. 20 years from now, brothers and sisters doing all these weird antics and skits. You online eating Tide Pods and then popping Xanax after that to see how faded you can get. And you're going to be looking back as an old man like, damn, that was stupid. That's what I want to be remembered by? Sisters, you want to be remembered by how many men put their rod into you? Oh, I know I still got it. Sis, you're 40. Hang it up. Got 5 kids, 4.5 baby daddies, and you want to be remembered for how good your coochie was. Wow. That's sad. Cardi B, that's what she's going to be remembered for, bro. A wop. Having a wet-ass coochie.
Sad.
Damn, bro. It's sad, man. It's sad. It's truly sad to see how far people have fallen from grace and how destructive we are.
And a lot of us are okay with it.
No, we're more than okay. We glorify it. We glorify. Bro, I literally, I was coming down Fig on the way to class, and I saw all the hoes out there. This woman is walking around in a bra and panty set, bro, in broad daylight. And nobody loves that sister enough to stop their car and cuss her the hell out and tell her to take her ass home and put some clothes on.
But our women that ain't walking on Fig is dressing like that.
Yeah.
The ones at the grocery store
Instagram
dressing just like that. But they wonder why we want our women to be dressed in a modest way.
But again, the music makes it okay. Because you got people like OT Genesis talking about you finna slide in that DM. Right? Well, no, how the song go? Snapchat me that coochie. It go down in the DM. That's what it go. Yeah, it go down in the DM. We singing this shit. Yep. And excuse my language, man, but I feel a type of way about this. You know, you got to say these things for shock value. Man.
Sad, man.
I just can't find myself to sit in front of a microphone and talk about the things that these dudes talk about. So we looking at the 2000s era of music, right? And we see the things that's being talked about. The last thing we found right before this lesson started, if it wasn't bad enough that our people is hooked on drugs, if it wasn't bad enough that our people is dying due to gangbanging, now we got the era of the poodles and the simps, where you know what, baby? I don't care what type of dirt you did to me. I want you back. That's what that 2000s R&B was talking about. Baby, I bring you the stars, the sun, the moon. You just tell me whatever you want. It don't matter what type of woman you are. I'm going to get it for you. You deserve it. You deserve it all, baby. The Bible says don't give your strength over to a woman. You got, man, what did Usher say in that one song? You can be stripping on a pole, but as long as you come back home to me, I'm okay and I love you. That's some simp shit right there.
And it's really conditioning our women to be on that.
Yeah, and you see how
a lot
it's
of
played
women
out.
out here. If you don't let them be free and do how they want and live how they want to live, you ain't gonna be in a relationship with them.
Look, bro, I remember being a kid and having these talks and these conversations with myself. That 2000s R&B, it made me want to give it all to a woman. I wanted to be in love.
Right. Me go to work.
Man, I work.
Give me a trophy wife. Just
I
stay
wanted
home
that,
while I just bring you
I
home.
wanted that 2000s R&B love to where it don't matter what type of dirt she done did. That's still my woman at the end of the day, and I'm a lover. And look how that's played out. You literally got
It's a lot of damage behind
a lot of damage. You literally got, in today's society, because of the music that we've been listening to growing up, conditioned to love pathetic women, and vice versa. The no good nigga who sit up on the couch and play video games all day, he is worthy of all your love, and he beats your ass, and he gets you pregnant, leaves you as a single mother at time to time, popping up when he wants to. You're still willing to give it all and love that man because why? It's called D2B. The D word, D-I-C-K, to bomb. Forget morals and all of that, but because that meat is good to you, willing to just, that's what the music has conditioned our people to live like.
And don't stand up and want to lead your household as a man.
No, heck no.
Then the toxic masculinity.
Heck no. we got them lyrics. Y'all remember Mario's song, right? I don't want to know. Shout out to my boy Nash.
Mario.
I think it's pronounced Mario.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I think his name Mario, whatever. And it's not a shot at you, bro, but you recorded the song. You thought it was okay. It's public.
I used to like that braid in my hair.
Man, look, bro. And it's crazy, too, because it go down to the Trey songs and all of that. His one song, damn. I'd be horrible trying to think of songs on the spot.
Me too. I can't think of it like that.
But basically, he's sitting there talking about how this woman, like, girl, why you sitting here putting up with this man? You know he out cheating with you. You coming home, you see the lipstick stains on his shirt, but you worth so much more. Come to me. That is some simp stuff. That is a married woman. The adultery and the fornication that's been pumped out through the music in the early 2000s is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Right? So look at these lyrics. He said, this is how it starts off. I just can't believe this, man. Just another night of these thoughts. I can't get this out of my head. Somebody said they saw you. The person you was kissing wasn't me. And I would never ask you. I just keep it to myself. God damn. Hold on. Brothers, if you ever get suspicion or some type of hint that your woman is doing it, you need to be knocking on somebody's door, getting some questions, get some stuff clarified according to the Bible. According to the Bible, if your woman goes out and cheats on you with another man, you are not to deal with that woman no more. Facts, all right? So, I don't want to know. If you playing me, keep it on the low. Because why? Because my heart can't take it anymore. It's some simp-ass music. And that's why women walk around today on that pedestal that it doesn't exist, but does exist at the same time. It's a weird relationship. They walk around on this pedestal and look down on us. And it talks about that in detail in the book of Isaiah, chapter 3, how our women would now surpass the men. And why is it okay? Drum roll, please. Because the music said so. Because Kanye said so. Because Mario or Mario said so. Because Chris Brown or Drake said so. It's nonsense, right? It says, did he touch you better than me? Did he watch you fall asleep? Did you show him all those things that you used to do to me? If you're better off that way, baby, all that I can say, if you're going to do your thing, then don't come back to me. But not that you just don't come back to me. Don't tell me. Even if you don't love me, just lie to me, baby. This is the music that we was brought up listening to. And you wonder why today's generation is the way that it is. It's just decades and decades of filth and pollution right? I be having to check myself. I'm listening to certain things. And it's not to say, because I don't want to be no hypocrite. So you saying you don't listen to no? Nah, come on now. There's definitely some Snoop and some Dre that I listen to. All for different reasons. I'm not out here talking about, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. I'm not teaching that. I'm not listening to that. That's not the message I'm portraying to my people. However, there's some solid classics. Y'all saw the Super Bowl, right? Some solid classics, right? I listen to Drake. Listen to certain, I listen to Nip. There's a certain something I'm trying to get out of the music that I'm listening to, though, right? Motivation to get up out here and get it. Find ways to not only get money in my pockets, but a way that we can feed our people as well, right? So I'm not finna sit here and be no hypocrite. However, you're not finna find me on the microphone talking about this nonsense. Never finna put no song talking about I just don't want to know. I want to know, goddammit. I want to know. Straight up, right? I don't want to know your whereabouts or how you moving. I know that when you in the house or when you cruising, it's been proven. My love you abusing. We back to the hook. I don't want to know. If you playing me, keep it on the low, because my heart can't take it anymore. And if you creeping, please don't let it show. Because, oh, baby, I don't want to know. It's sad. So sad. But let's get this, right? Let's go to the book of Proverbs. Actually, before we go to Proverbs, let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 37. Because in this message, there's an underlying message, right? I don't want to be the overzealous, overrighteous man telling you can't listen to no worldly music. But you got to know yourself. You got to do some type of guarding of your spirit and your soul. Me and this brother, we may be able to put on some Nipsey and find all the business aspects of his music and apply that to our lives. The next person, they can't get past the gangbanging. And all they want to do is go out. Yeah, that's all they want. They want to throw up their hoods and yeah. So this is where this scripture comes in, right? Sirach, chapter 37, verse 27.
Sirach, chapter 37, verse 27. My son, prove thy soul in thy life.
My son or my daughter, this is for us. Prove your soul in your own life. When you're walking this life, when you're living this life as an Israelite, as somebody who knows the will of the Most High God, you need to prove the things that are good and prove the things that are bad for you. You need experiences, right? Go ahead.
And see what is evil for it.
Exactly. You got to be able to walk this earth and be in certain situations so you can have something to speak about. Like, you know what? I've been through this, bro, or I've been down this road. That's not the way to go. You've proven that for your soul, and you got a better understanding, right? That's part of the, I guess, the blessing in disguise and what Adam and Eve did, where now we have the opportunity to see evil and good and make a decision, right? But read on.
And see what is evil for it, and give not that unto it.
And don't give your soul unto the things that are not good. Read.
For all things are not profitable for all men.
So guess what? Sisters, if you got a past of being a whore, just being real, you're sleeping around with multiple men. It ain't got to be all at once. It could be in a period of months. You done slept with 10 dudes in 1 year. It probably wouldn't be the best fit for you to listen to City Girls. It wouldn't be the best fit for you to listen to Meg Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, because they talk about things and lifestyles that can potentially trigger you to go and do that which is evil. Lil' Kim. Who's the other one? Who made that song? Trina.
Oh, yeah.
I remember hearing that song as a kid, bro. Look Back at It, or Look Back at Me by Trina. She said she got an ass so big like the sun. Hope you got a mile's worth of penis. She want to run, slap it in her face, shove it down her throat. Bro, I remember listening to this as a kid. And you know what my thought process was? I want to experience this. That is the danger of the music that's being put out to our communities. Me and all the homies and the little females that was in our community that we was listening to, we wanted to experience that. We didn't look at that and listen to it and be like, ew, what is this? We thought it was cool. And that's the danger of the music that's being made, right? And has been made. They're making wickedness cool, right? So the Bible says, for all things are not profitable for all men. Go ahead.
Neither hath every soul pleasure in everything.
Because it's not a sin to listen to the music that's being made today, right? And even amongst some of the most vulgar of artists that we have today, people like YG and who else is making some just crazy music? I mean, even at times, people like Drake, you got a song talking about he's a lesbian. Girls like girls. Like, you're promoting filth, you know? Yep. All things is not good for all people. If you're somebody who don't know how to read between the lines, right? Or have it all the way figured it out, just abstain from it. However, it's not a sin to listen to these types of music, but what is it doing to your spirit? That's what the goal and the focus should be on, right? There's an easy out. Just listen to us. we gonna provide you all the vibes you want. We got Baby making music and it's righteous, right? One flesh. Israelite love. This is not lust, right? Ain't no Romeo and Juliet, baby. When we lay down, this is forever. We ain't trying to hit it and quit it. We can give you that. We can give you that edgy rap where it still appeal to niggas in the hood and talk about the lifestyle that we used to live and things that we used to involve ourselves in. We can give you all of that, but in context with righteousness, right? Was that all of that? Con, that's all I needed. Okay. Go to the book of Proverbs, Con, because I know we're getting ready to end this. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. And this is speaking to the era of 2000s music, right? Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor.
Envy thou not the oppressor. Like I said, in the 2000s, that era, I really feel like Esau was perfecting his agenda, right? Because everything you saw on BET, everything you saw on MTV was brothers and sisters who envied our oppressors. They wanted the riches that our oppressors had so that they can do wickedly with it. You start to see a rise, right? And our sisters hating themselves. The blonde hair, the wigs, wooty woo woo, right? You see a huge rise in all of that. The Bible says don't envy our oppressor. Our oppressor got rich off misusing and abusing so-called blacks and Latinos.
Like, our women are literally out here buying body parts like we don't naturally have.
And I was just getting ready to say
our
that.
Our women have exactly what all the other women in the nation want to get, but our women are still buying wigs, booties, breasts, lips.
But that's a product of what we saw. Again, I seen it.
Sucks, man.
I seen it as a kid. I said, when I get older, I need me a female that got an ass like that. I need a female that got a waist and a face and boobs like that.
Right.
So it's not a surprise to me now that same little kid 20 years later, why all of my females in my nation, they getting the BBLs. They getting the boobs done. They getting the nose jobs because we grew up seeing this on TV and mentally we were taught this is the standard.
Right.
Again, envy thou not the oppressor. Our oppressors got rich selling drugs to our people. Don't become a rapper, entertainer, singer, songwriter, still talking about the things that got our oppressors rich, and now that's the thing that made you rich.
They literally fought wars.
Yeah.
Through the money that was sold to our, in our communities through the drugs. Like,
it's crazy, but read on.
Verse 31, envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways.
Choose none of his ways. The ways of America is all about pride, and it's the evil type of pride. There's nothing wrong in having pride and knowing who you are as an Israelite, by knowing that God chose you to be above everybody else, that's fine. That type of pride is great and all good. But when you got that evil pride to where you become selfish and you're not willing to do things to better your people, then that's wickedness. The 2000s showed us what Esau, the so-called white man's idea of success is, which is money, hoes, and clothes. They said if you want to be successful as a black man or a black woman, Latino man or Latino woman, this is what you need to have, and this is the lifestyle you need to portray. When according to the Bible, success came by keeping of the laws. Let's get that real quick. Joshua 1:8. They said, you know what, niggas and Mexicans abroad, this is what success looks like. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. A lot of times, successful people end up making a lot of money. It's not the money that made them successful, right? And our forefathers had money. Money is not a new concept to our people. So the fact that they've made money a god now is just so saddening. So saddening. But go ahead.
Joshua chapter 1, verse 8.
Uh-huh.
This book of the law.
This book of the law. The Bible is a book of laws, not fairy tales and make-believe. This is a book of laws. Read.
This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth.
Read.
But thou shalt meditate therein day and night.
On what?
That thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein.
Our people meditate on Lil Wayne lyrics, bro. And J. Cole lyrics. This is why he the hardest nigga ever. Did you see the way he rhymed this one with this one? Our people can go into in-depth breakdowns on why certain brothers is the best rappers alive because of rhyme schemes and double and triple entendres. Bro, that is BS. It's a race for bars. Oh, look what he said. Only he could have thought of that. Like, oh. I remember a point in time where it didn't get no bigger than Lil Wayne, bro. Right. He could have said French toast and bent boast and people would be like, nigga, oh.
I see them doing that over Eminem now.
Oh, yeah, Eminem, he's the greatest rapper because, like, he said Pico de Gallo and Cinco de Mayo. Like, it's ridiculous, bro. But the Bible said meditate on God's word. Read.
For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous.
Say it again in the mic.
And then, for then thou shalt make thy way prosperous.
You see that? It said then. Our people want the kingdom right now. We want the glory. We want the riches. We want the name. We want all of that right now in this state of oppression. But God said, no, meditate on my word, fulfill what it is I said do, and then you'll have what?
Thy way prosperous.
It said, then your ways will be prosperous. Read.
And then thou shalt have good success.
And then we should have great success because guess what? Success isn't a handful of basketball players who have millions upon millions of dollars. That's not success. Success is when we can walk outside of our door into our communities and everybody is thriving. I've been saying this for years. Success is not singular. It's shared throughout the whole community. We got a few success stories and how are we slaves? Look at LeBron. Look at Kobe. Right. Bro, how aren't you slaves?
No, it's crazy you say that because literally, man, when I played in the NFL for 7 years, right? I got to a point where my life changed where I really wasn't in it for the game anymore.
Yeah, it's a business.
But I was just in it because I made it, so I was going through that journey.
Yep.
But there was a part of me in my spirit that I wasn't happy because it was like, man, I'm okay. And I wasn't even rich. I didn't have $1 million, but I had more than most of the people I came up with in my community. But where I wasn't happy at is where when I had to look back at my community and see that it was so many of us still struggling, so many of us still hungry, so many of our kids still homeless, so many of our kids not being educated, or just us not even knowing who we were. And it was like, I cannot be happy in this space because I'm okay when I can look at my people and we're not okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Even if you were to have those type of conversations out loud, they would try to shame you into a space to where you'll be like, just be lucky you have this opportunity.
Definitely.
As if this isn't something you and your people should all be experiencing.
Exactly.
Just be lucky it's you.
I mean, but that's that 1% in that world too. Like, it's 1% on those teams that's making that $50, $100 million where their life is set up.
Exactly.
But the rest of the 99% don't have that lifestyle. So we're really setting our people up and our kids up for the struggle by not truly educating our people on who we are and what we're here for and what we're here to do.
Man, it's wild, bro. It's wild. And, you know, it's sad because those are the type of conversations that happen. And I'm pretty sure so many of our other brothers and sisters feel that exact same way. But because they're not guided, they don't know who they are, or simply just blinded by the money, they'll never go and fully invest themselves in that way to where everybody's eating. And you know what's crazy? Esau wouldn't let that happen anyways. He wouldn't let that happen.
Shut you down.
You know, and that's why I get so irritated when I even think about people like Colin Kaepernick. Like, you made all this noise about the NFL and how it's so similar to the plantation, but yet you still want to play for these niggas.
I mean, because he don't know who he is. So he has that zeal and he has some of that energy within him that's trying to come out of him, but he don't have the complete story of what it is he is.
But
and
here's
what
the
This
problem.
whole picture is about. You know?
He's the leader in the community.
Con.
They choose our leaders. Me and you would never get the likes of Day to have a platform to where we can speak to millions of people at once. Like, bro, don't get me started, man. I want to stay on topic, right?
Oh, God.
We coming at a close. Let me get one more scripture. Proverbs 23:17. We might have to do a part 2 of this so where we can actually go in and I can bring examples of the music, right?
You said Proverbs?
Proverbs 23:17. And this will be the last scripture. I hope everybody's been enjoying tonight's lesson. I hope you had a chance to have something to take away from this. You know, and I'm not sitting here saying I'm the almighty one and everybody listen to me, but all praise be to the Most High. I am placed in a position as a teacher. I have something to offer to the nation. For everybody and their mama talking about drugs and this is what you got to do to be on, I'm telling you, you got to keep these commandments, and the Most High going to put you on in ways you would never imagine. That's something rap money and drug money could never bring you, ever. Now stand on that, right? But go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 23, verse 17.
Uh-huh.
Let not thine heart envy sinners.
Everybody who America puts up as a leader in the so-called Black and Latino community, they're sinners. Respectfully. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. According to the Bible, you sin when you break God's commandments. You sin when you teach people to break God's commandments. And that's exactly what our brothers and sisters is caught up in doing. They're sinners. The lifestyle that they live, the things that they've gotten is all blessings from Satan. It is what it is. Let's stop dancing around it. I believe YK Osiris even came out like last year talking about that. Going live talking about, God don't want you to be in the music industry. But nigga, you still in that music industry. You feel me? So let's not lose sight of that, right? These aren't things that God has given our people and blessing because they're doing such a great job. No, this is the work of Satan. Let's not be ignorant of his devices. The good thing is our people can change. I'm not dooming them to hell. If y'all don't repent, unfortunately, there is a consequence for that. But you have the ability to repent and learn righteousness, right? But go ahead.
Let not thine heart envy sinners.
Right, so when you turning on these YouTube videos and you on MTV, BT, don't envy that. Do not envy that. Read the accounts of our foremothers and forefathers who stood tall for the laws of God. Envy that, if anything, right? Covet that. Read.
But be thou in the fear of the Lord all the day long.
But make sure we're keeping our fear and we're keeping our focus on the Most High. All right, Israel, so I just wanted to leave y'all with that. Again, thank you so much for the continued support. If anybody's interested who's watching online, you're interested in joining our organization, True Nation, please contact us. Reach out to us and let us know. Closed mouths do not get fed. You know, we're here in Los Angeles, but we're looking to expand. So please contact us. Continue to like, share, subscribe to all of our content, YouTube and Facebook, True Nation Israelite Congregation. And I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. You got anything you want to say?
I'm good.
Khan, all praise be to the Most High. Appreciate you, Ak. All praise be to the Most High. And Shalom, Israel. You have a great night.